the classrooms have windows here,
Yes.
and here the kids are in,
We're classified.
and they're in groups, right? Is that like a different setup too? Why do they do that?
Taiwan, no. Peru, it's the kind of teaching theory is called.
Cooperation, cooperative learning.
This is, Japanese professors.
Right.
I don't know what it's called. And
We call it cooperative learning.
cooperative learning.
So where kids are learning in group types of learning.
Yes, they would like students to help with each other.
Right. This
by
is more.
questionnaires.
It's more like the American way, to a degree.
Yes.
They use a lot of this pair share and.
Yes, and after each class, students have to give their worksheets to the teachers.
Oh, I see. Let's go back to the junior high school here, right? So junior high school is grades 7, 8, and 9. And it's my understanding the kids have to take a test at grade 9 to get into specific high school. And I didn't quite understand this whole thing. But in China, they have like 3 types of high schools, 4. They have what they call the key schools, which are the very elite. Then they have an A school, which is a little bit less academically, and then a B. And these are all kind of university tracked. And then they have vocational schools. Simply, that's kind of the way it works. How does it work here? Do you have kind of the high schools that are the very elite? Is this what the kids are trying to get into, the best high schools, based on this exam? So how many elite schools do they have? Is it a small percentage or?
In Taipei, I would say 7 or 8
super elite schools.
We would call them that most prestigious schools.
And what do you call that in Chinese?
名校.
名校.
It means famous schools.
The famous schools, and this is what they call them in China too. The famous schools are key schools. So then after that, what level do they have below that? Like the kids, based on their test, they'll get in. If they can't get into a famous school, they're going to have to get in to another type of school, right? Is there like an A school and then a B school and a C school, or just there's the famous schools and everything else is the same?
I would say that.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, and we have a lot of community schools. We call it community schools because the government set up a lot of community schools.
And what are community schools?
Because they want to break the barriers between. They don't want those prestigious schools, so they set up a lot of community schools so students can go to nearby high schools to study.
So they don't have to travel great distances.
Yeah, they don't have to commute every day.
Do some of these, are the community schools just as good as the famous schools? Are they just as good academically?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Do the famous schools have dormitories? Like the kids live there?
No.
Okay. Because the famous schools in like Korea and China, this is a common thing. The kids actually live at the school.
It's more common in mid and southern Taiwan.
Oh, in southern
Taipei
Taiwan.
City, only 3 high schools have dorms.
Dorms. Okay. And what would the reason for that be?
I guess the parents think that the transportation.
You said 99% of your kids
Yeah,
go.
but
Are there enough colleges and universities to fill all of this?
They are very strange. There are more college students. There are more colleges, more vacancies than high school students.
actually, we already have too many colleges, so.
Oh, really?
Yes, the government started to eliminate some.
Right, because the government, are these public colleges you're talking about? Or private?
No, private.
Right.
Private.
Mostly are private? Or there's a lot of public?
A lot
University.
of public and a lot of private.
Okay.
A lot of colleges.
Right. So there's too many colleges
Yes.
here
Yes.
for the amount of kids that they have.
Yes.
So-
Because the children, the number of the birth rate is decreased.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
decreased a lot. So
Increased a lot. And why do you think it's decreased? Are women more independent and they just don't want to be burdened with kids now?
a
Or
lot of reasons. Yeah,
they want to focus on their career,
Yeah,
that sort of thing?
And to raise a kid is very expensive
Right.
in Taiwan right now, and maybe
How about the divorce rate? Is it
divorce
getting higher?
getting higher,
Yeah.
but I think it's okay.
Right.
It's still lower in most European or American countries.
Sure. Well, we say in the U.S., generally divorce rate is about 50%, but in places like Phoenix, Arizona, a large city in the Southwest, I remember divorce rate is nearly 70%.
Wow.
Yes. In the U.S., I was just telling you that kind of America's secret weapon, because of its low performance on these world tests like the TIMSS test and PISA test, they're kind of desperate. So we've kind of gone towards technology. And we are technology crazy now. Everything's about technology. If you just use more technology, the kids are going to learn more, and the scores are going to go up. I have my doubts on this, but as I travel throughout the world, I don't see a lot of technology in the classrooms. Yes, they're using some, and they have computer labs. Sometimes they have power smart boards, but I don't see this huge amount of technology being used. Are they doing this in Taiwan? Is this going to be the trend? Or have they tried this here at your school?
Yeah, actually, we just start to experiment. We have a classroom for students to have a pad, each one. So
iPad, one-to-one. One student for one iPad.
Yes, one student for one pad. And the teachers want to use the pad to do some teaching.
Right.
Yes, but just the experiment. Not all the class and all the class, all the courses, just only for one or two for the experiments.
Okay.
The teachers say, after the experiment, teachers says that some benefits, but some frustrations, because teachers have to spend more time to solve the problem of the pad or the software.
The problems,
yes.
the things aren't working.
Yes.
You don't have internet's down.
Yeah, something that a connection and it
Right.
a problem. So the teachers will spend a lot of time to solve the problems. But teachers says that if the system works, they may be very good for some students to learn, because some students learn ahead and some students are lower.
Right.
They can help the students.
Right.
So
Do you think this is going to be a trend later in education here, or you think they're going to stay more with this traditional
I
system?
think we will have more experiments about that. If the system works fine, I think most teachers will like to use the system.
But maybe it's not the actual, it's a tool, right?
Yes, the tool.
But really, it still comes down for the student's desire to learn,
Yes.
having good parents, and having good work ethic.
Yes.
And without those things, I'm not so sure an iPad is going to be all that beneficial. Would you agree with me on that?
Basically, the pad for students, they will be things that it's interesting for the first or two class, but basically they are still have to learn the materials.
Singapore is the only country that I've found that uses an enormous amount of technology, something similar to what the U.S. is using. They're ranked about number 2 in the world, but I think they probably have a very hard work ethic. Kids are going to cram schools.
Yes.
Kids are studying. They have good parents, a society that regards education. I think without those pillars, the iPad won't make you any smarter.
Yeah, I think iPad just a tool.
Right.
Yes, tool can help, but the basic problem is not the tool itself.
I think probably maybe would you guys say one of the most important things is teacher quality,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Sometimes we do. Actually, as an English teacher, I sometimes use iPad. Sometimes I would use computer to assist my teaching. But most of the time, I think we stick to the textbook, because it matters what we learn from the textbook. The computer is just a tool.
Right.
Yeah, I can show you some examples. In one of my English composition class.
In that class, when you do use the iPads, do all the kids have an iPad to use in there?
No. I use the iPad and I take pictures for my students' works and.
So how does this benefit you, this
and
iPad?
I connected this to the projector.
Yes.
So the students can see what other people are doing in the class.
Right. But
So-
you still think
I think it's about immediacy.
Right, right.